Hey, what's up guys? Just finished another homemade. I thought I'd make a quick video on it. And I'm going to do a little bit of an update as well after I finish going over the homemade. So, it's a rainbow pistol, as you can tell by the title. I'm just going to adjust my camera. So here it is. It's made out of clear PVC, like I think all rainbow pistols should be. It has a poplar handle that has been finished very nicely. It has been rounded on both sides and sanded all the way down to 600 grit, and then it has had I think 2 coats of this stain. It's like a stain that doesn't really stain it. It changes the color slightly, but it just changes the color of the wood to the color that it would be if it was wet, if that makes any sense. And it seals it and really protects it. It's for staining fences without really taking away the natural look of the wood. And then I have put 10 extremely thin coats of varnish on it and sanded it down to 600 grit in between coats of varnish so they would adhere to each other. And then I gave it a quick polish afterwards, and that has made for, hopefully you can see, a very shiny handle, which I'm happy about. The trigger is poplar again, but I didn't do the seal thing because I wanted it to be lighter than the handle and the little wood block up here. And it kind of shows, but it's not as light as I want it to be. And it is rounded a lot. It's rounded completely. And I've seen a couple people do this on the rainbow pistols online, like on YouTube, and I think it looks really nice, so I do it as well. The trigger is spring-loaded, so it has a trigger return spring, which is functional and it's comfortable and it looks nice, so that's how I did it. The side plates, the side plates have been rounded on both sides and then kind of cut on an angle. Hopefully you can see. Yeah, see, I cut them on an angle and then I filed them even more on an angle just because I thought it looked nice and it's kind of comfortable if you put your finger or your thumb against it. So yeah. The rainbow catch has a 1/2 inch polycarbonate spring rest, standard 1/4 inch catch plate, and then standard 1/4 inch back plate with aluminum spacers inside, and that's all screwed together with 632 screws or bolts, whatever. I always say that. And then it has a little bit more than a half of a K25 spring that's under a slight amount of compression, I should say. The plunger rod is square Delrin rod, 1/2 inch square Delrin rod. Then it has a skirt seal, and I spent quite a bit of time on the plunger head. Hopefully you can tell it is a rounded over disc at the back of 1/4 inch. It's a little dirty right now, so it's not as polished as it was when I first made this, but I think it still looks nice. Then it's got a skirt seal from McMaster, and then on the front, I don't know if you can tell. I did the same thing that I did with my plus bow. If I can get a nice shot in there, it's just a kind of beveled or coned or whatever disc. It's cut on an angle all the way around, so it gives it kind of a cone shape. One more time. Hopefully you can tell. Yeah. And that's secured, the whole plunger head is secured with a 1.5 inch 632 bolt. Yep. And then it has a speed hole at the top. That was mainly to be able to screw this in from the top of the plunger head, and it's just countersunk in there, but it also counts as a speed hole and it helps performance. The grip is also screwed in there with 3 wood screws, and there's the access hole up top as well. The bushing was a standard hexagonal bushing from McMaster. Well, I guess it still is, but I rounded the top, and I think that looks super nice. I love rounding the top of these bushings. I think it looks really cool. And then I've also rounded the clear PVC as well, just to kind of match the cone of the bushing. I've also done that on the back. And I don't have a PVC reamer to do that, so I did that with a razor blade and one of those flappy bits for a Dremel. So you can picture me sitting there with a razor blade, scraping, scraping, scraping for, you know, half an hour. I hope you get as much of a laugh out of that as my dad did. But anyways, last thing to go over, I'm pretty sure, is this polycarbonate pole that I made. This is machined. out of a half-inch piece of polycarbonate, and it's completely solid. I was gonna do a Night Finder one, but I guess I'm gonna do a Night Finder one for my next one. I did one of these just to start with because this is my first polycarbonate part that's really kind of hard to machine. I've done other polycarbonate parts, but they're not very hard. It's just kind of like discs and strips and shapes. This is kind of a, I don't know how to explain it. They're all 3D objects. Obviously, everything's 3D in real life, but this has more like curvature than a normal part that I would machine. Whatever. Anyways, so this has been rounded to fit my fingers specifically. I'm sure it'd be comfortable for anyone else. I did this for my fingers because I'm going to be the one using it. And then this has been rounded over on each side, so it's like two little round nubs or whatever. And then that's been rounded as well. And this is just basically a little T cut out of half-inch polycarb, and then it's been rounded here and then rounded over for your fingers to go over, and just sand it all the way down to 600 grit. It wasn't that hard to make. It just takes a long time. And then that's secured with a countersunk bolt. It's a 632 1 1/4 inch bolt. And all the other bolts on here are these are half-inch bolts, and then these are 3H bolts, and then securing the this whatever the handle is 3/4 bolts, and then here they are half-inch bolts. And then I just have another countersunk bolt going through the trigger, and the return spring is just done with a set screw that's screwed into the half-inch piece of polycarb, and then there's another set screw that's in the trigger, and they're just sticking out slightly so the spring can stay in there. And the reason I didn't use like normal like panhead screws or something is because the panheads got in the way of things. There's not a lot of room in here. The catch spring that I have in here is just like a spring on McMaster. I really forget what it is. If you need to know, I can totally send you the part number. And if you need any of these other parts, you need to know where they are. Everything here is from McMaster. I can totally send you all the part numbers. I have all the stuff that I always order written down in a book, so I never forget. So if you need any help with that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions on where to get parts for this, or tips on how to build anything like this. It has a square Delrin plunger rod, if I didn't say that. And let's just go over the seal really quick. I'll show you it. It's not the best because I'm actually using E-tape instead of packing tape because I ran out of packing tape. But when I replace this with packing tape, I'm sure it'll be a perfect seal like all my other homemades are. And also these screws, they're not gooped or hot glued or anything because I know that I have to take off the bushing, so if I goop it, it's going to suck to take off. So maybe I'll show you the seal when I redo it. It'll probably be really good. And a little update on what I've been doing. I stained my snap bow. This is the same snap bow. It's just got a red mahogany stain with some shellac on it. And I've actually used this snap bow a lot. Lots of people have used it as well. And it's working good. Still has a excellent seal. Basically perfect. No noticeable wear on the plunger head. All the parts are working good. Even this stupid little wood clothespin is holding up. I'm not going to replace it unless it breaks, but I do have nice plastic clothespins now that are easily reinforced with epoxy. And then this is a little sneak peek on a project that I'm doing. This is a very important project to me. It's one of the biggest ones I've done so far. And I've spent a lot of time, and I've kind of spent a lot of money doing it as well. Well, a lot of money compared to what I usually spend on Nerf. So here's the first piece, and I'm only going to show you the wood pieces right now because they're the only pieces that are worth showing. The rest is just kind of, well, it just still looks like parts that aren't anything yet. So anyways, yeah, this is the first part, and I'm not going to tell you what this is. Hopefully you can just guess, and if you can't guess, then you'll see when I'm done. And this is actually bloodwood that I got from a place called Lee Valley. I don't know if you guys have that in the States. I'm pretty sure you do. Um, but yeah, it's called Lee Valley. They have a lot of hobbyist stuff, a lot of woodworking stuff, and some really nice exotic woods. And I got a big block of bloodwood for about $20. It's 3-inch by, I think it was 8-inch block, so it's a big block of wood, and I machined this out of it, and it's all been rounded very nicely, and this has been rounded so it can sit nicely on what it's getting mounted on. And this isn't finished yet. It's just sanded to 400 grit or something, and it's been shaped properly. So I still gotta finish sanding this, and then seal and stain it, or not stain it. I'm gonna put some varnish on it. And then here's the trigger. This hasn't been sanded at all. It's just been shaped. So nice round trigger, nice clean lines. There you go. And this is bloodwood again. And then here's the handle. Same old bloodwood. This is all made of the same big giant block of bloodwood that I bought. And this has been shaped and sanded to 400 grit. And this stuff is just a pain to work with. It is the hardest wood I've ever seen in my life. It actually broke the blade on my, not like broke in half, it just, a couple of the teeth fell off of my table saw. So yeah, it's very hard wood. And I guess I'll show you probably in a couple weeks when this project is finished. And until then, guys, have a good day or night, wherever you are. And like always, I'll see you on the forums. Bye.